everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to preserve flowers into a Petri dish. Now, we all have certain flowers that we dry out and we keep from certain occasions, whether it's a happy occasion or sometimes it's a sad occasion, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, sometimes maybe it's a funeral, but it's very important for us to keep those memories and those flowers. Now, these flowers, once you dry them, over time, they're very delicate and they can break apart. So I love the idea of preserving them in the Petri dish because then it's there preserved forever. It's not going to get damaged and you can use it on a daily basis, right? You can use this and put on a little easel as a display. You can use it as a coaster and it's just so much more convenient. So here we go. Let's get started and let's talk about some of the materials that we're going to need. So we're going to need 2 molds. In one mold, we're going to put our resin in and use our torch to take the bubbles out. And then afterwards, we're going to use our other mold to set our Petri dish in. So today I'm going to be using my culture cast resin. This is one of my newer resins that I've been using. And I also have an affiliate code with them, so if you want to save some money, any purchase you make with them for $40 or more, if you use the code AnniesArt, you will get $10 off. I love this resin. I've been using it consistently lately, so check them out. So something that I've been liking to put into my little resin pieces recently is twine. So I just got this really cheap regular twine off of Amazon. So I'm going to take this and I cut up little sections. I measured it in my Petri so that I don't have to cut it while I'm pouring my resin. And lastly, we're going to need our gold leaf. We're going to use a little bit. I'm going to show you how I'm going to tear it apart and put it inside my resin before I pour it into the Petri dish. Alrighty, let's get started. So I have already pre-mixed my resin, which once again, it's the Culture Cast Do It Yourself, and you can find them on Instagram at the handle counterculturedIY. So this is the resin we're going to be using today. Also, I am going to add just a little bit of alcohol ink, so I'm going to use the Jacquard product. I'm going to use Sangria, Burro, Brown, and Brass. Now, you do not have to use any alcohol and ink in this. It's still going to be very beautiful. But if you want to, you can follow what I do and just add a little bit of this alcohol ink. So I'm going to set these aside for the time being. Now, with the last Petri dish that I made, I love everything that's gold. I love gold leaf, so I added a little bit too much. Now, I still like how it is in the middle, and I want it to be kind of showing between everything else that I put, but I do want my flowers to show a little bit more. So I am going to put just one clear coat of resin first. I'm going to add my flowers, and then I will show you how I add the gold leaf to my resin, and then we can add that on top of the flowers. Also, before we get started, we are going to add just a tiny little bit of resin on the bottom, set our flowers, add the resin with the gold leaf, just a tiny bit, but we're not going to add too much in the mold. The reason being is if we fill up the entire mold, everything we put in there is going to float and it's going to not sit on the bottom. So we're going to put just a little bit, put everything in, have it dry. After about 5-6 hours, we will come in and we'll add a clear coat on the back to seal our Petri dish. So now I have already torched my bubbles out of my resin, and I am going to start by pouring just a little bit in my dish where I'm going to be using it for our actual mold. Now we are just going to tip our mold over, make sure we get it to all of the rims of the mold. There we go. Now what I like to do is look at my flowers, my dried beautiful flowers that I've gotten out of my books, and I want to see which side is prettier. Whichever side I like better, that's the side I'm going to put face down into the mold, because when we unmold this, that's going to be the top of our beautiful Petri dish. So let's get started. Now once I have my flowers placed, I am going to get these little other dried little baby leaves and little other flowers. I don't know what these are called, but these are also dried, and I'm going to add them in between the flowers. So So now let's add a little bit of our twine. So I've already pre-measured and pre-cut these because I don't want to sit there and cut right now while the resin is wet because it gets a little bit sticky. So I will pick an edge. And we're going to push that twine into, there we are. Yeah, this one is making me a little bit nervous. I feel like it's not going to work well, so I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put in another smaller piece. So if you feel like you put something in and it's not sitting well, don't be afraid to just take it right out because we don't want that one little piece to ruin our Petri dish. All right, so I have this now set so we can readjust our roses to make sure it's nice and balanced. Okay, so I'm just going to take it and start scrunching it up, start pulling it apart, get into little pieces and just put it in that resin. Okay, now I don't want to add as much as the last time, so I'm going to leave it at this for now and see what it looks like. Now I'm going to get 2 of my craft sticks and I'm going to come in and kind of pull out the little gold leaves just to make sure they're nice and tiny. Sometimes they're folded into each other just because they're so delicate and you can't see them. So we're going to do this and then I'm going to very slowly, lightly mix this up a little bit, not too vigorously because we don't want air bubbles to get in here again. And I don't really suggest torching resin while the gold leaf is in there because it can burn and it's foil, so you don't want that to change color as well. Okay. So now let's go over and try to balance that out and get the gold leaf to kind of go in all the little corners that we have here. I'm also going to try to cover a little bit of the roses because we want it to dry a little bit with this round of the resin so that when we add our second round of resin later, it's pretty covered and it doesn't soak up all the resin we put on. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of my gold into my Petri, and then we're going to add a very, very, very tiny amount of the colors. So one drop of the Sangria. 2 drops of the brown, I guess. Let's add the white ink to that so that the ink starts to drop. If I can open the bottle. Come on. There we are. And now I don't want the colors to just sit there, so I am going to add 2 drops of silicone oil. One there, maybe one there, maybe one more. All right, now the silicone oil is going to react with the ink that I dropped in and it's going to start spreading all over. You don't want to add too much ink because we don't want the flowers to absorb the ink and become mixed up with the colors too much. So that is it, and let's watch what happens here with this continuation. And I will be back in about 5-6 hours to add the rest of the resin on top. Alright everyone, that is it for this video. I hope you learned, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you make beautiful Petri dishes with your beautiful flowers that you have been saving. If you're not subscribed to my channel, everyone, please click that thumbs up. Make sure you click that subscribe button, and I will see you guys soon.